Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Brekky in the Cave. Settings all over the place. What a weekend it's been. How are we doing this morning, my friends?
Puffing on strawberry shortcake. Used to know them, man, now it's all strange. Pen gal.
Kicking off with something new from Omar Youngs and Jafro's Cubcam TV. Brekky in the Cave. I'm going to get everyone nice and ready for the show.
So I dare.
Got loads of stuff on the way. The red eyes are back.
Do it on my trackie, on my night tee. I don't want a pension, I'm trying to hit racks.
Could be a very enjoyable one indeed.
Yeah, kickbacks, wrapped and right bars. Hotline bling, how we grind hard. Hit the airport, I need a clear mind. Hennessy with a and a beer vibe. Yeah, the racks come out when we get waved. Calm down, I ain't about for the next day. Trying to escape, what do you think we trap for? And my stack's always telling me to stack more. When I aim, it's a swish, no backboard. Couldn't put your whole team against my back four. We just win, 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 that's a whitewash. You can come round here and get choked. Yeah, wait. Quick bag for a out stuff. Officer, I don't know where the walk it was. Broski by my side, feel like I don't know these guys. These switching sides, I've got money on my mind. Every day we grind, we'll go clear some time. I swear I seen it with my eyes. It's all in good time. 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 I've got money on my mind. Every day we grind. We'll go clear some time. I swear I seen it with my eyes. It's all in.
Look, can't place man in a place man can't manage. And the snakes wanna sliver in the grasses. And the pagans wanna try act passive. But that's why I'm strapped with the cannons. Pencil sharp and all my pen shots blasting. Sick with words, my tunes contain strong language. Stop preying on the gram, man, you're moving like an addict. Go feed your fam, man, your fam look famished. You're not a dungy, you're just grumpy. Your girl in a bad bee, she's just hangry. You're not like me, highly unlikely. You can't stand me cause you don't understand me. Get rich with the broskies, you know what the plan be. Can't stay broke, car, I ain't got a plan B. I'm tryna win, I ain't got time to Sundays, brother, so I'm wrapping up or pulling out a plan B. Someday it's all gonna be mine. I swear I've seen this with my eyes. I stare face to face with my clock. I'm gonna get it all in time. Someday it's all gonna be mine.
The red eyes are well and truly back, and I don't know why.
I stare face to face with my clock. I'm gonna get it all in time. Yeah.
Broski by my side, feel like I don't know these guys. These switching sides, I've got money on my mind. Every day we grind, we'll go clear some time. I swear I seen it with my eyes. It's all in good time. 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 I've got money on my mind. Every day we grind. We'll go clear some time. I swear I seen it with my eyes. It's all in good time.
There we go. That one there coming from Omar Youngs and Jafro. That's how we're kicking off this morning. Really cool new tune from them, going by the name of Timing. Out to everyone who is locked in. This is Brekky in the Cave. It's a brand new week. It's a brand new show. There's loads of stuff on the way. We've got some amazing guests, and we're going to be looking at some amazing music as well, and also some really cool new topics. There's loads of stuff to discuss. It's Monday. I like doing the shows on Monday because it means I've had a few days worth of how do you put it, backlog in regards to news stories and stuff. Because obviously, fun news isn't in abundance at the moment. It's not necessarily the first thing on everyone's lips. We're not looking at like cool new announcements and cool new festival things going on every week, which is normally what would be happening during this time. We're actually looking at quite the opposite, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of like struggling around to try and find fun and entertaining news stories for everyone to take in the mornings. So what we are looking at the moment is the good bits. That's what we're trying to do. So 3 friends use Minecraft to recreate their favourite Birmingham nightclub. This is what I'm talking about. Gaming news combined with heartfelt good stuff, essentially. So, a virtual nightclub was created in the Minecraft universe to raise money for the NHS. Good stuff. This is a good start to the day. 3 friends from Birmingham, Jordan Hooper, James Goodman, and Elijah Wokes, recreated the Snobs Club in their local area as they reminisced about happier times they spent there before lockdown. Good stuff. I agree with this. I think this is fun. The the Real Snobs nightclub matched their donations, and the end figure was a grand total of 2,000 raised for the NHS charities. Watch the BBC interview, and you can take a tour of the nightclub online. So there we go. Good stuff. A good start to the day. That's a good news story to kick stuff off with. And I want to see more of this, because you know what? Minecraft is a sandbox, and I will not have a bad word said about it, because we've spent a lot of time on the game during lockdown in our Discord group, the Goobers, as it were. And we've been really enjoying it. We've been really enjoying looking around. There's been some really cool new things drop as well. It was an unusual weekend for music. There were some bangers out there. The most interesting thing I've seen drop, though, is Akala's dropped a brand new Daily Duppy, which I haven't watched yet. I'm going to have to watch that before when we finish the show. I'm going to watch it straight away and talk about it tomorrow. But there we go. Let's jump into another banger then this morning. So we've had a couple of bits floating around. This is a tune I really, really enjoyed from Fresh Fridays last week, and there is a little post I'm dropping today over on 3000.co.uk about this one, coming from Nadia Rose. Track going by the name of Sugar Zaddy. Really, really cool stuff from her. Don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. It's Cubcan TV.
Ryder, not this again.
Sugar Zaddy got that yam will come again. Sugar Zaddy got them poundsy coming round. Sugar Papi with that guala beola. Sugar Zaddy with the dollar. For splash it on me proper. TT babies with me. Hope you got a pack of Jimmy's. Come ice out this pinky. Cash paid in full in 50s. Love when you talk with your funds. All day you can say what you want, I'm listening. Furthermore, I'm glistening. A broke boy just said something, I missed it. All this ass while somebody kissed it. Licked it, dipped in, wrist it, frisked it, flipped it. Far from cryptic, it is what it is this. This sugar babe need a sugar puff. Hell, I need me a hella stuff. I got it in red, blue, and green. But now I like me the yellow one. So bitch, come true with the pack. Big tees that resemble the racks. Cat fat like the rest of the stack. Facts, so much sauce, so much sass. So much drip, you're just tapped. You ain't even get it like that. Of course I got my own, but I'd rather splash your dad's. Okay, Zaddy, splash like pool 90. You fly me private, so I don't stash my pool 90. Get it in and out, get it in a drought. Bust it out your trouser, let me spend 1,000. Talk to your accountant. Sugar Zaddy got that yam will come again. Sugar Zaddy got them poundsy coming round. Sugar Papi with the guala bear hola. Sugar Zaddy with the dollar. For splash it on me proper. T2 racks on me, that's changed. Somebody's had better call him Bay. I love when they old and grey. Buy me brand new colorways. Got it in green and fuchsia. Dying for it, I'm Pooja Moolah. Needing it long like ruler. Ooh yeah, I hit the belly like Fupa.
Sounds of Nadia Rose on this one.
No funny boys, no bloopers.
Track entitled Sugar Zaddy. Wicked flavours.
Dentist, contract extensions, no tension. Dash out your pension. Intentions clear, no digressing. Invest in me and my virgin. She wanna nip in a talk. Her hair needs pick and drop. She wanna drop her top. Me, I want more bang for my buck. I need more pet for the wizzy. I'm a lesbian for Lizzie. Straight cash thing or online banking. Transfer that in a jiffy. I'ma check the account. Batty do with a check don't bounce. Ooh baby, I love that amount. I'ma need that again and out. Get it in and out, you know me. Love them ballin' like Ginobili. Get the dough and keep it rolling. Sugar Zaddies, I'm patrolling. Well, come again. Sugar Zaddy got them poundsy coming round. Sugar Papi with the guala better holla. Sugar Zaddy with the dollar. Splash it on me. Sugar Zaddy got that yam will come again. Sugar Zaddy got them poundsy coming round. Sugar Papi with the guala better holla. Sugar Zaddy with the dollar. Splash, 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 splash. Give me rupees. Spend them pesos, buy me Gucci. Yeah, to keep it frank, come and give me all your francs. I'm taking all these cities to the bank.
There we go. That one there coming from Nadia Rose. Really, really cool tune, that one. And a tune that we're going to be hearing a lot more of. I really like what Nadia Rose is doing, coming with some really original flavours. Obviously, she first kind of popped up jumping on the Kideko and George Qualley tune, Crank It. She jumped up on the official vocal for that. And since then, we've seen her popping up everywhere. It's been really, really cool to see. I think she's got some really, really some really unique like approaches and stuff. It's a really cool blend of almost like dancehall flavors with the UK rap kind of mixing together, and I think it just works really, really well. And I really like that tune as well. That's why there's a post dropping about it a little bit later on. So what we are going to be doing next is looking at this news that Travis Scott has officially broken the record for Fortnite live views. This is a really interesting bit of news. I remember seeing this popping up. I remember seeing his name pop up when I was looking through the game. I was just playing quite casually last week, and to be honest, I was going to try and get some YouTube content for it, but I was so far behind on this one. But yeah, one of the biggest live music events of the year took place within the game, as I didn't know this was going to happen. I thought there'd be some kind of like small scale thing where he's like on screens or something like that. But on Thursday, I didn't get a chance to talk about this on Friday either, so again, I'm quite late to this, but the news that he's broken the record is actually quite new. On Thursday, the US rapper performed his own concert live inside Fortnite with over 12 million players logged into the event, and with fans calling it spectacular. I don't know if you've seen the videos of it, but it's if you've ever played Fortnite very much in the game, it's an absolute madness how this thing looked. You're obviously the same size, and Travis Scott just appears in the world, and everything goes into this mad sort of like concert mode, and everything, you lose your sense of gravity as a like character in the game. You start being able to float around, and stuff's like landing all around you. It's almost like an apocalyptic concert, and it just looked absolutely phenomenal. And obviously he's running through different bangers that he's made over the past few years and stuff like that. Like he played Goosebumps and a couple other bits as well. And it just looked spectacular. Have a look on YouTube if you haven't already seen it, and look at this concert, because it looked absolutely phenomenal. And I think this from the Fortnite team is a fantastic way of showcasing how you can entertain people during this current period, because I've never seen anything like this. And the thing you have to take into account with this as well is that when this was happening, this was succinct across every single Fortnite game being played at the time, and it happened at the same time in every single game. Not the same time as in within game time, as in it was 8, I don't know what it was, I think it was 7 or 8 o'clock or something like that, and it happened simultaneously, whatever time period every game was on. Something triggered within the game, and Travis Scott comes flying out of the sky, and the world starts falling apart. I think honestly, the level of tech and the level of like processing power that it would have taken to get that to run is absolutely phenomenal. And you've got to take your hats off to Fortnite to be able to pull that off, and pull it off smoothly as well. Travis Scott took to Twitter directly after the event and said, "Honestly, today was one of the most inspiring days. Love every single one of you guys, and I know times are weird for us, but for the moment we have to be able to have the rages to rage wherever you are is amazing." Doesn't make sense. But love you guys with all my body. Gang Cactus. There we go. Interesting stuff, and quite an interesting look at how things are kind of going. And I think it's good from Travis Scott, to be honest with you. I think that was probably in the works for a while. I mean, it must have been to kind of get all like the movement and stuff put together, and the animation behind it. So it's quite an amazing feat, I've got to say. So shouts out to him. We are going to jump into another banger next. This next one coming from 80. This one goes by the name of Good Vibes. Out to everyone locked in this morning, and everyone locking in via the Cubcam TV podcast. Obviously, Brekky In The Cave. Just search that on any sort of music streaming platform, be it Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, and you'll be able to see the playlist going up there. So there we go. That's what's on the way. Right, let's get into this one then. 80 with Good Vibes. It's Brekky In The Cave. Don't go anywhere.
Yo.
Back on my bullshit, got the gang asking how I do this. Didn't see me on the block like a new kid, but I coloured out the squares like a Rubik's, and I blurred up all the lines, didn't notice. In the Matrix, I'm the one, guess I'm chosen. Neon lights in the frame, so I'm posing. Floating like a butterfly, focus. Stop the Henny in my cup for some Grey Goose. Had a bougie in the back, wanna let loose. I'm stuck in the middle like a Quaku. Got a brother feeling all weak, J-Sue. Been a clean-hearted jigger from the get-go. Yeah, I love her, but don't worry about my ex though. Doesn't matter, you can never be my next soul. Ask fella, be we married to the peso. Got a little jiggy bop when I step in. EA, that's the gang that we reppin'. Cooking white, that's the whip, yeah, we flexing. Switching vibes when they see it interesting. And you can stay away if you're bad mind. Said it quay, I've been on a long grind. Yeah, you know we get it down on the east side. I can make mine, but it's gonna take time. Baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. The man that are with me and only here for a good vibe. The way that she's shaking that dairy, yeah, that's a good sign. See, baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. Cause, baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. of some lemon or lime. Cause baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. For a good time.
You know when a tune nearly catches you?
All in the timing, I'm the sun, so it's all silver lining. Waiting for a G to bust in this climate. It's a start, just wait for the climate. And the way I feel the beat like Poseidon. Yeah, the black still dark in the trident. In the ends, grew up hearing sirens. I never found dead moment of silence. Used to roll to church with my parents in the backseat. Trust nobody, had the juju on me. Don't just talk tough, but they wouldn't back beef. Bear man, yellow bird, Sesame Street.
Gang is with me, I ain't on my Jones now. Everybody wanted me to slow down. Driving in my lane has took his toll now. Cruising through my
Cause baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. The man that are with me and only here for a good vibe. The way that she shaking that dairy, yeah, that's a good sign. See, baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. Cause baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. Cause baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. The juice in my cup is in need of some lemon or lime. Cause baby, you know that I'm only here for a good time. For a good time.
Sounds of 80 on that one with good vibes. How are we doing this morning? It's Brekky in the Cave as we run the breakfast show through this temporary setup, which I'm very much enjoying, I've got to say. I quite like being able to sit at home when I'm doing the show in my own chair, with my own setup, with my own tunes and stuff like that. I do quite enjoy it, to be honest with you. We are looking next at the fact that Kanye West is officially a billionaire. This has been the news circulating around social media platforms for the last sort of 2 to 3 days, essentially over the weekend. This is what's been popping up. Thanks to the success of the Yeezy brand over the last few years, Forbes have announced that Kanye West is now officially a billionaire. I've always wondered this about Forbes. Do you reckon you have to write into them and say, yeah, I'm a billionaire now, write about it? Or do you reckon they have access to like some list or information that we don't know about? Because it seems to be that they always are the ones that report it. Are they in communication with the banks? What's going on? I'm not too sure. But yes, in a feature piece posted on the Forbes website, there we go, it's them again, Kanye's frustration with the publication was detailed in full as they published excerpts from text messages where he complained that he was left off their annual billionaires list last year. Oh, God, I won't lie. The more I read about this, the less I like it in general. The report says Kanye said in the text message, you know what you're doing? You're toying with me and I'm not going to lie down and take it anymore in Jesus' name. Okay, the publication revealed that Kanye West is worth over $1 billion USD and that the rapper producer owns 100% of the Yeezy brand. Kanye allegedly contracted to release his shoes via Adidas for at least 5 years. Forbes also said that Kanye allegedly received $140 million in royalties from Adidas thanks to sales of Yeezy shoes in 2019. Aside from the shoes, the Yeezy brand also includes their interior design, architecture, housing, clothing, and more. Forbes writes, all told, our current net worth estimate for Kanye is $1.3 billion, which he'll be pleased to note is $300 million more than his little sister Kylie. The article alleges that Kanye disputes this though, with his text saying that Ye reportedly saying that the editor of the article, it's not $1 billion, it's $3.3 billion, since no one at Forbes seems to know how to count. So there we go. This is a big argument. Does Kanye have as much money as he says he has? I don't know, to be honest with you. And I think once you get past, to be honest, once you're into the 100 millions, I think the whole thing of it gets a bit pointless and stupid. Why do you need that much money? Why? What on earth do you need that much money for? And I'm not someone who's going to come out and say, oh, you should give all your money away. Not saying that at all. But why does it matter? I've never really understood the point in Forbes list, unless it's like a big dick swinging contest. I don't know. I don't understand the point, if I'm being completely honest with you. I really, really try to understand it, and I just don't. Once you are that wealthy, what is the honest point? I don't understand. Obviously, I wish Kanye all the best in the world, one of the most talented musicians to ever grace popular music, and I have no doubt in that whatsoever. Genuine mastery in what he does the majority of the time. But the fact that he's writing letters to Forbes list saying, you know what you're doing, over the fact that over how much he's worth, I just don't understand why. I don't understand the point of it. Like, I'm trying. I really, really am trying, and I'm sorry if I've gone off on a rant, but I just don't understand why this is such a big deal, and why does it matter? That's what I don't understand. Anyway, let's get back into some good vibes, shall we? Coming up next, we're going to jump into some UKG from a man like Solector. This is one of the tracks we featured at the weekend with on Fresh Friday. Sorry, on Friday, not on the weekend. On Fresh Fridays. Also, actually, I've got a shout out to everyone who did lock into the live stream with myself and Anna on Laughing Matters via Instagram Live. I think we had around 400 people lock into that, so that was an absolute madness. But yeah. Really enjoyable show, really enjoyable back and forth, and I think we're going to try and do it every weekend. Try and get some popularity rolling for the show. We did a lot of sort of like drinking games and stuff, and I've got to say, Sunday did not look pretty for me. It did not look pretty. I didn't leave this room, I don't think, for the entire day. So yeah, but actually, genuine thank you to everyone who did look into that show. It was really, really enjoyable, and I did really appreciate everyone kind of messaging in, giving us topics, giving us themes. We're going to try and do quizzes every week as well. So if you are interested in sending in quiz questions or quiz topics, please do, because there was it was enjoyable, man. It was enjoyable. Out to Anna as well for hosting the stream. It's the first time she's fully hosted a full-length stream, so I think she did really, really well. And obviously, this is how we're going to be launching her eventual full-time show on Trickstar when we all go back. As I've said before, we normally host the breakfast show over on Trickstar Radio, and this is how we are running the show for the time being. You know, we're running it a little bit differently, a little bit different structure-wise. There's not as many like bits of like jingles and stuff like that. We're running this pretty much tunes and interviews and news, and I like doing it this way. You know, I mean, I like to think there are people out there who are enjoying this setup as well. The channel's approaching 200 subscribers, which, if I'm honest, I'm absolutely ecstatic about. We've grown like 5 times off what we had before the start of lockdown, so I think we are doing something right. But if you are a new follower, a new listener, please do hit that subscribe button. There's going to be something on the channel for you at some point. We're keeping so much varied content going out there. We did drop the most recent top 5 video yesterday from Sook Knight. If you are interested in sort of dubstep and grime, we listed the top 5 Sook Knight instrumentals, and I gave kind of a bit of a backstory into all of them and into the history. There's also a Wiley one up there as well, and I'm looking at planning the next one for a couple of weeks for that. But yeah, there's just loads of stuff on the way, and I definitely think it would be a good thing to do, to subscribe to the channel, because you will see something you like, whether it be an interview, whether it be a gaming video, whether it be a top 5 video, or whether it just be a random thing we put up. You never know, but please do subscribe. There's loads of stuff on the way. Let's get into this one then. Cubana coming from Solector. This one dropped on Friday. Fresh UKG here on Brekky In The Cave. Oh yes. Flavours on this one from Solector, track entitled Cubano. Nice way to wake up, I think. sounds of Soul Lecter on this one with a smooth piece of UKG. Out to the locked in crew this morning. Out to everyone who is locking in silently as well. Do leave a message in the chat. Let's have a conversation. Get some requests in. Get some conversational topics in as well. As I've said before, the motto for this show is these are unsociable times, but I want to keep them as sociable as possible because these are unusual times. You know, we need to come together as a community, and that doesn't necessarily mean people delivering pots and pans to each other in the street. It means people coming together online as well, hosting online conversations and people getting involved in just general conversations, even if you don't know people. For those that aren't aware as well, we have started up a brand new production forum, which is going to be which is available. You can join now via Facebook if you are interested in music production or getting into it or advancing your skill set or anything along those lines. It's called Underground UK. Just search Underground with no vowels apart from the U on Facebook and you'll find the group. It's a very interesting one. You just have to answer 3 questions to join the group. We want to make sure that people are joining with the intention of posting. We don't just want loads of people in there who are going to be unactive listeners and unactive users. So there we go. Let's get into one more tune then before we jump on the line with Ngaio, who's going to be on the phone in just a second. We're going to get into this one, brand new from Smasher. I've been absolutely adoring this one. UKG flavors. There's a real UKG theme going on at the moment. I think it's because it's summer. We're seeing a lot more UKG music floating around. But this one comes from Smasher, one of my favourite releases of the year so far off his Locked In, Locked On album. You can check out my review of that over on 3000.co.uk. He also was doing live streams and stuff all over the weekend. I think he was on One Extra yesterday. So definitely go and check out the album. It's one that I would 100% recommend, and it's an absolute scorcher of a tune. So let's get into this one, and I'm going to get on the line with Ngaio in just a second. Oh, yes.
Non-stop billing, every day I go in. They asking what you been on, me, I'm just doing my thing. Cause it goes on and on, these vibes are strong, yeah. Non-stop billing, every day I go in. They asking what you been on, me, I'm just doing my thing. Cause it goes on and on, these vibes are strong, yeah. Releases planned out from now to September. On top records, that's my agenda. You know it's pure vibes when we enter. DJ spinning tunes, yes, my selector. Deal with the matter, I deal with the pressure. 12-inch vinyl, bass injector. This one here is the real neck stretcher. Got an old school vibe with a new school texture. Non-stop billing, every day I go in. They asking what you been on, me, I'm just doing my thing. Cause it goes on and on, these vibes are strong, yeah. Non-stop billing, every day I go in. They asking what you been on, me, I'm just doing my thing. Cause it goes on and on, these vibes are strong, yeah. Fire and flames, yeah, watch when I start it. Roll out the vibes like rolling a carpet. Planting the seeds, yeah, ready for the harvest. I'm a true creative, yeah, I'm a true artist. Ready for the takeoff, the flight's just departed. Gotta go all out, can't go half-hearted. Reach for the stars, gotta aim for the target. Tunes in the stash, start attacking the market. Non-stop billing, every day I go in. They asking what you been on, me, I'm just doing my thing. Cause it goes on and on, these vibes are strong, yeah. Non-stop billing, every day I go in. They asking what you been on, me, I'm just doing my thing. Cause it goes on and on, these vibes are strong, yeah.
then we are live on the line right about now with Ngaio. How are we doing this morning?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's I've been looking forward to doing this interview, man. Obviously, it's the first one of the week. We're back in the cave after a seemingly quite heavy weekend, as you can tell by my red eyes on the stream. But yeah, this is one I've been really looking forward to. Obviously, I got sent the EP over by Tom at Dirkle Disco a little while ago, and it was one that's been kind of resonating with me quite heavily. And it was one that it was you know when you kind of get an email and you want to go like, right, I'm linking this up straight away. It's definitely one I want to get involved with. So that's definitely one of the one in that category this morning. Before we get into a conversation about the EP, though, I would like to get a bit of kind of like backstory on yourself. Obviously, this is with the channel, we have so many different guests from like so many different musical backgrounds that I like to make sure people fully like kind of explain their story before we kind of get into a discussion about the albums and the EPs and the releases and stuff like that. So just like kind of going back a little bit, like what was your kind of original route into making music? Like what was the kind of the original influence?
So I guess for me, music was really, it's always been a way for me to figure out my feelings. I've kind of always used it as a kind of musical therapy, I guess. Always wrote lyrics, wrote poetry, and loved to sing. So it was always, that kind of catalyst for me to work through my emotions and figure out what I was trying to say or what I was feeling. So it kind of, it took me a while, I think, to probably really feel confident in the fact that I'd found my sound. I think that was sort of quite a long journey, and one was that I was really aware that I wanted to be sure of who I was musically before I started putting anything out. So yeah, it was quite a lot of sort of trial and error, trying different styles, working with different people, and yeah, I kind of feel like now I'm in a place where I'm like, yeah, okay, this is me.
Definitely, and I think that's quite apparent as well when we look through the new EP. We can very much hear we can hear a certain level of comfortability from yourself, which is really really cool to look into. Like when you kind of say you were like moving around different styles to sort of find your sound, like where did that journey take you, like sonically? Like what sort of genres were you working in, like that sort of thing?
So I guess a big part of my journey has been trying to match together my musical side and my raver side. Okay. So I grew up singing and listening to a lot of soul. I used to try and emulate a lot of jazz things. I actually started out singing jazz mostly. And so I always had vocally the want and the drive to be able to sing with that kind of level of passion and soul. So that kind of took me along that route. And I had a jazz band when I was about 2021. And I just wasn't really old enough to be running a whole band by myself. Like I was writing the material, I was picking the cover songs, I was trying to get rehearsal space. I
mean, even at this point, that's something that most people struggle with the majority of the time. So, so doing it quite early on, there must have been it must have been quite a lot of pressure, to be fair.
It was a lot of pressure, and I was also very much aware that these people were working with me, and I didn't feel like I was providing them with what they would have if they had a stronger leader. And I think that kind of, so for me, when we stopped that, I was like, wow, I'm not doing this again until I really know what I'm doing, because there's a lot that goes into this, and I want to figure that out so that when people do come and work with me, I'm giving what I understand what my role is and what I should be providing. So yeah, musically, that kind of is where that went. And then, but I was always out raving, I was going out to clubs when I was like 15, 16, not allowed, but you know what, we have all been there. I've the more and more I look into this as a topic, the more and more I find that the majority of people who are like performing or musicians, or they were, I was raving when I was 15. It was just part of the go. You had to be, and it's hilarious. My mum's always saying to me, "You were networking by the time you were 5 years old. Like you were always talking to people." So I was like, I was out raving, and I was kind of when I first started going out a lot, that's when dubstep was really starting to happen. So I found myself a lot of the time in these, penguin dance raves with loads of guys, and absolutely loving it and being obsessed with bass, and then that kind of got me into like drum and bass and jungle. And yeah, but there was quite a big gap between those two things. So, I'm 21, I'm singing jazz in the sort of, the live music clubs, and I'm going and raving to dubstep and drum and bass. It's a really weird, difference. So, and then I kind of started working with people, writing sort of hooks for people doing like grime. That's actually where I met Tom. So Tom used to be part of a group called Central Spills, and when I decided that I wanted to start working with more underground artists, I looked at Central Spills, this group of guys, and I thought, who looks the scariest? And I thought,
is that actually the approach? You went, who looks the scariest? Yeah, that's who I'm going to get in contact with.
Completely, because that's how I do most of my life. I think what really intimidates me the most, let's go to that, and obviously that just shows you can't judge a book by the cover, because Tom is the sweetest,
literally
kindest guy in the world.
Out of all of the people I've spoken to doing these interviews and doing these shows and podcasts and stuff, I've got to say Tom is one of the most on it people I've met.
He's on it,
and secondly, one of the most kind of up for working with as many people as possible. And I find that's so funny that when you go, I looked for the most intimidating one and went, right, I'm going to network with you, and then it turned out to be Tom. That's amazing.
Turned out to be Tom, and the best option you could ever have. And I think it's mostly just because he was tall, had a really deep voice. I never talked to him before. I just sort of seen him, so it was completely my own projections. And yeah, what a great person to reach out to. So one of the first kind of me working in these new genres was working with Tom, and that's kind of how we've always been. He's kind of, if he's got a track and he thinks, this could do with a vocal hook, he'll normally call me. He's always been very open-minded to the kind of music that I make and the kind of music that I want to make. And he's also, we're friends, so he understands where I'm coming from a sort of just a mentality point of view, and he can also really appreciate all of the live music stuff that I do. So when I went to him with the idea of doing a remix EP, he was like, I get it and I'm up for it. Yeah. And I was like, you haven't even heard the songs yet. He was like, it's fine.
Yeah, I think that's I think the thing with Dirkle Disco as well is, obviously I followed it from quite like a journalistic kind of angle. Obviously from a lot of the stuff I do, I'm very much like trying to keep on it when it comes to like looking up about releases and looking up about sort of themes running within labels. And the sort of theme I've always got from Dirkle Disco is they want to try and kind of like smash down like barriers and kind of like molds and kind of go for something which is a bit out there and something that is a bit more kind of like purposeful, rather than necessarily focusing on, for instance, what the next big sort of bassline sound might be, or the next big sort of I don't know, D&B sound might be. They are very much always looking to do something a little bit different and something that's going to be a little bit more memorable in the long run, which is why I think this EP in general actually works really, really well. So we're just before we get into the first track, obviously it's a remix EP. So with these tracks, are they available anywhere else, or are they purely just released as remixes?
No. So the original came out in November.
Okay.
And that came out on Saffron Records, which is another Bristol-based label. And yeah, the song. So basically, I was picked to be part of their artist development program, which was in partnership with Red Bull, and it basically gave me some space and some time to write the songs, go and record at the Red Bull studios, and then kind of get them released. So it was a real journey, to be honest. This whole EP was a journey from the whole of last year, and it's funny because it was also in the lead up to like my 30th birthday, and the whole EP, all of the songs are about identity. They kind of touch on some quite like serious subject matter in terms of like politics and stuff, and I really wanted to make sure that all of the songs were as honest and painted a true picture of how I felt around all of these different areas. So each of the songs kind of tackle different different subject areas, and I always say like those songs were written for me at different stages of my life, and I really want them to be to sort of stand alone and together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. But we're gonna jump into the first one now, and then we'll have a bit of a discussion about it afterwards, and kind of move on with the conversation about the EP, like the kind of the process behind it and how it came together and stuff like that, which I'm really interested to hear. Obviously from such a live angle, I think there'll be some really, really interesting bits in there. We're live on Cubcam TV. One time, what is the best social media tag for people to get you on for the Locked In crew?
So it's Ngaio A Music, which is NGAIO Music. That's on Instagram and Facebook, and Ngaio Anya, NGAIO on Twitter.
Good stuff. Don't go anywhere. This one is Blackbird, the LR Groove remix. It's out, I believe. It's out now, isn't it? Or am I tripping?
It's out now.
It is out now. I just had a complete mental blank then going, am I doing this ahead of time? No, I'm not. This is out, isn't it? I know it's out, yeah. Right, don't go anywhere. It's Cubcam TV. It's Brekky in the Cave. Cubcam TV. Out to my locked-in crew this morning. If anyone has any questions for Ngaio, make sure you are dropping conversations into the chat, and we will pass the questions along. Something that I found this morning. Obviously, I got a voice note off you this morning in regards to how you pronounce your name. Do you ever find it to be a little bit of a hindrance? Because I have definitely found having a big X in the middle of my name to be quite a hindrance.
Yeah, it is, and it's funny because. So when I started DJing, I was like, oh God, should I just change my name? Should I just make it something easy? Because people are never going to be able to pronounce it right. And so many people came back to me and they were like, no, you have to keep your name as it is because it's really important for people to see a name like that on posters.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really thought about it like that before. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. And I think it's funny. I listened to a podcast the other day, the Distraction Pieces podcast, and it was with Ed, what's his name? So ironic that I can't now remember his name. Ed Swine. Swine, like wine, as he says. And, you know, he says to Scroobius, "So yeah, you know, this is how you say my name." And Scroobius Pip was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, go on." And he said, "No, it's fine." He said, "You know, when it's time for people to know how to say my name, that's when they'll say my name right." And I thought that's such a good way of looking at it, because no one's trying to offend you by saying your name wrong. But it's also like, you know, if you're doing an interview or something, it's almost kinder to say, actually, this is how you say my name. Just in case.
I've definitely found that, and I think something which is actually in play now more than ever before is, unless you've heard someone's name out loud, you aren't necessarily going to know how to pronounce it a lot of the time.
No, of course not. And also, I mean, I blame my mum mostly. Why did you give me this name? It's so rude. You know, but it's a beautiful name, and I love it a lot. So
nice. And I think with it as well, I think it does kind of within your brand as well. I think it definitely ties into your brand quite nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people who want to know more about me and what I do, they want to know how to say my name. So that's a really lovely thing as well. Because,
yeah, definitely, man.
You know,
right, let's crack on with a talk about the EP then. Obviously, there's 3 remixes on there. The first one we've just heard was the LR Groove remix of Blackbird. Talk to me about the process of putting together these remixes then. Like, were you involved in any of the remix process, or was it very much a case of getting the original project files together and passing them on to producers? And again, just the follow-up question to that as well. How were the producers kind of chosen for this project? Were they the ones that you picked, or was it a label decision? Or just talk to me about the EP, basically.
So Blackbird is actually it was funny. With Blackbird, me and LR started speaking on the UK Funky Facebook group, and we just really got on. He was really interested in the kind of music that I wanted to make. He was really interested in the tone of my voice. We tried a couple of tracks which didn't really didn't really work, but I knew that I wanted to work with him when he sort of said to me, "Yeah, you can do better than that." And I was like, wow, yeah, I can, but I didn't know that you knew that I could. So we actually started 2 songs together, and one of them was a song called Sycamore that will come out at some point. And the other was the beginnings of Blackbird. So what I had sent him was a 3-layered harmony, vocal harmony, which I was like, "Oh, this has been in my head. What do you think?" And he was like, "I love this. This is great." And he started making a tune. And then when I started making the original tracks, I matched that harmony stack that I had made with spoken words that I'd used before, and then added another verse. And I was like, "Oh wow, that's the live version." So then I went back to Ella and I said, "Hey, you know that song that you're making? I'm really let's keep doing that, but I'm also going to make this into my live. This is going to be probably the single of my live EP." And that was the first time really that it clicked in my head that I could do that with all the songs. Okay. And when he sort of, we were laughing about it the other day, he was like, "Yeah, you really gave me a curveball there, man," because suddenly it went from a 3-stack harmony that was, 30 seconds long to a 9-minute song. And I was like, yeah, that's a bit of a difference. And he totally redid the entire track. So he was quite, that was the way that I did it with him. With Objectify, which is the one that KG is on, she actually came up to Bristol and jammed with the band, and she actually played all of the live drums on Objectify. Not the live drums, the live percussion. And she came to the Red Bull studio with us, and she was very much a part of the making of that tune. So it made sense for her to be the one to remix it. And yeah, all of the remixes are people that I chose. I specifically wanted to work with all 4 of them for different reasons. So with LR, it's because he'd kind of been there at the beginning of the thing, and I love what he does, and I really love the way that he produces his songs. I like that they're kind of slow burner songs. So I was like, yeah, he needs to be, he makes sense to do that with Blackbird, and I knew he'd smash it. KG, me and Kay, again, we kind of met over Twitter, and then she came up to Bristol we were playing a night together in Motion, and we just got on like a house on fire. She came to mine for a few drinks beforehand, and when you sort of meet someone and you go so deep so quickly, 100%, and you're like, yeah, we're on a level, we get it. So when it came to Objectify, we'd already talked a lot about that sort of like over-sexualization and being in control of your own body and your own space, and how, you know, what that experience was coming from a woman and from a Black woman's perspective. So yeah, again, it made, like, I knew that she was going to smash that. Hagen I had met at Keep Hush in London when it was Marcus's Keep Hush, and he was playing back-to-back with LR and Juk 10, and he was just the sweetest guy. He was like, "Oh, you're right," and I was like, "You're excellent," because I listened to all of his tunes. Again, Tom was the first person who said, "If you heard Hagen's songs, I think you'll love them," and I had listened to him, so I was kind of a bit of a fangirl, but I hadn't really met him. And then he was just this really nice guy, and I was like, "Oh, great!" So I hit him up and I said, "You know, this is my vision." And because I know that he, you know, he has a real connection with Ghana, he goes back there quite a lot. The way that he produces is so tribal and authentic, but it's also got that kind of like darkness, which is really, and his songs are quite seductive. And so me, LR, and KG and Hagen all met in London, because that's where they live, and we kind of talked through the EP together. And then they kind of decided between, like, they just picked their own songs, you know. Ella was like, "I'm doing Black Bite." Kay was like, "I'm doing Objectify." Hagen's like, "Yeah, Green Eyed Queen is mine." And yeah, I knew that they would sort of do their own thing with it, and I just kind of left them to it. And then with Boa Kisasa, who did Hail Mary, I really wanted them to do it, because like Boa Kisasa they're based in Glastonbury. And their songs I've been playing in my DJ sets from, you know, when I could learn how to DJ. And the way that they produce really excites me. And whenever the drop comes in, I lose my mind. I utterly lose it. And it's always been like that. And I remember the first time I ever saw them DJ live, like, I was just in awe. I didn't stop smiling for like the entire set. And Hail Mary already is quite a ballsy track, you know. It's pretty in your face. And I kind of wanted them to be the ones to take that on, because I was like, yeah, it's already quite not aggressive, that's not the right word.
I think raucous might be a good word.
Yes,
I think raucous might be a good word. And I think with Boa Kisasa's production, they very much I want to say they throw everything at it, I think is a good way to say it as well. They will throw every piece of percussion in the studio at it. They'll find a way of getting every single element of rhythm into something, so something is completely full but still has the dip and groove that they do. It's quite amazing actually how they do put the stuff together. I've got to say,
it's also quite melodic. They always have some sort of melody in there, you know. There's always something that sort of is driving through, that gives it that real amount of soul, which is what I love. And so I mean, when that came back, when they all came back, I was ecstatic, because I also feel like each of those tracks, the way that they've been, like, because of who's done it, absolutely represents every single part of my DJing persona as much as anything else. So yeah, it had to be them.
Definitely, man. I mean, there's a couple of things I wanted to kind of ask about the EP quite specifically. First of all, I feel that when you listen through all 4 tracks, they do really give you, to an extent, a kind of full breadth of what funky is sounding like right now. Like, it pretty much is almost like it'd be like a complete genre description. Like, was that intentional when you were putting the stuff together, or is that just how it's kind of come together?
No, it was, because I think, again, for me, I really don't, and I don't know how to say this, which isn't going to make me sound like really whack, but I don't really, I'm never genre specific. I don't play all the same thing. I'm not interested in all the same thing. I've never wanted to be one kind of artist. Like, I've always, I feel like there's a lot of rules within, you know, things like different music genres and stuff that I just don't know and I don't really care about. I like to play music which makes me really excited. And UK Funky, when I started DJing, UK Funky was the thing where I was like, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Like, I like how wide it is in terms of its different influences. I like that I could go to a UK Funky night and hear so many different types of genres within a night that is labelled UK Funky. Definitely. Which is, for me, really exciting, because I really don't like it when I go out and, you know, it's like someone came to one of my nights recently and he went, "You said you were playing garage." And I said, "Yeah, I did play garage for like a good 15 minutes." He said, "But I wanted all garage." message. And I was like, well, why did you come then? Like, I was like, there are 10 genres on the poster. Why are you here?
Something else I want to get in, because we are running out of time, and I want to run one more track before we finish up. But there's a question I think might take us kind of through to the end, to be honest with you. Obviously, when you're putting stuff together, there is quite clearly like a lot of influences in the writing side of things. It's not just rave music for ravers. There are some serious topics involved in here. There are very kind of political, very kind of social, even economic to an extent a lot of the time as well, that you discuss during these projects. Now, the question I did want to ask is, do you find sometimes that the messages within the tracks almost get lost within the more sort of ravey atmosphere that you build within the tunes, or do you think have you found that they actually ring truer?
I think that it's a bit of both, and I always wanted it to be a bit of both. There are people who do not want to think about politics when they're out raving, and that's totally fair. You know, you can't force conversation on people. You can't make people have a moment of realization when they're out and they're just wanting to have a good time.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of arrogant to think you can do that or you should do that. Like, that is not my place. But I also think that those messages are there if you want to engage with them. So what I kind of always wanted is that if people want to take on the messages in the middle of a dance, they can, because they can listen to the lyrics and they can go there with that moment. But if they don't want to do that, then they don't have to. And I think with all of the songs, like, unless you want to click into that, or it might be that you want to rave when you're out and about, you want to rave to them, but maybe when you're at home listening to them, that's when you want to go into a bit of a deeper meaning. So I kind of wanted there to be enough freedom and flexibility so that people can engage if they want to. And I think sometimes, the lyrical content can get lost if it's a ravey tune. But that's also why I wanted to have the live versions and the remix versions, because again, if someone wants to listen to it and they want to go, oh wow, what's this message, then they can go and find the bigger story with the live ones.
Definitely. I mean overall, listening through the EP, it was definitely one of the ones that I really enjoyed from kind of start to finish. I really enjoy the kind of the full breadth of everything that comes with it. I like the fact that you do touch on so many topics, and it isn't it's not overpowered by the raving factor. I don't think it's overpowered by the rave factor of the EP, and also the fact that there are messages on there that don't overpower, like, it doesn't overpower either way. It sits quite nicely in balance in the middle. We're going to finish up playing this Boa Kasasa remix just because, you know what, it's Monday morning. I think we need to inject some energy into people's days and really kickstart people off. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you this morning. Just on a quick one before we finish up, what's next for yourself?
What's next? I really want to, and I don't even like saying it out loud because it makes me very nervous, but if I say it out loud, I will do it. So this year I've sort of said that I want to try and learn production.
Okay.
That is my next challenge, and luckily I have a whole bunch of producers who have said that if I ever need any help, that they will give me an ear and give me some advice. So I want to start trying to see if I can challenge myself in that way, and who knows what might come out.
Definitely, man. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what comes out of it. One more time, what is the best social media tag for people to get you on?
So I'm most active on Instagram, so that's Ngaio Music, Ngaio Music, and also my DJing collective is Booty Bass DJ, and that's also on Instagram. So and then online on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Good stuff. Right, I tell you what, this has been a really, really enjoyable one. I've enjoyed every second of this. Thanks for jumping on the line.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been great. What a good way to start a week.
Fabulous stuff. Right, let's get into this one then. The Boa Kasasa remix of Ngaio's Hail Mary. Don't go anywhere. It's Cubcam TV.
not dancing for them anyway.
Sounds of Ngaio on this one, the Boa Assassin remix of Hail Mary. Massive shouts to her for jumping on the line. We're going to be jumping onto the phone with Brighton YMCA in just a second. Out to all the locked in crew, do hit that subscribe button. Let us know how you're feeling this morning. Don't go anywhere, it's Cubcam TV. Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. Massive shouts out to Ngaio for passing through for the last half an hour. Her EP is out now via Dirkle Disco, the remixes, and they're all amazing. Would recommend every single one of them. Up next, we're on to our second guest of the day, and we're going a little bit more local this time around. Alex from Brighton YMCA is on the line. How are you doing this morning? Are you all good?
Hi, Jay. Yes, we're good. Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Anytime, man. I mean, obviously, this is now the second time we've done one of these Brighton YMCA interviews. It's a project I am very kind of passionate about, as people have seen with a lot of these live shows. I try to be as inclusive as possible, and I try to make sure we're covering as many different topics as possible. And obviously, as a Brighton head myself, and someone who's grown up here, I try to make sure that we are showcasing as many of the amazing projects that happen in Brighton as possible, including, of course, Brighton YMCA. So, just to kind of kick off this interview before we get into the announcements and what's coming up, I would like to kind of get a bit of background on yourself. Like, what do you do within YMCA then?
Hi, Jay. Yes, we are so grateful for you having us here. Yes, last time that we came in, you were so welcoming and so supportive.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
Really impressed. Yes, I'm Alex Kunchev. I am the communications manager here at Brighton YMCA. I am working remotely now, as many of us behind the scenes do, and I have to say that my life has changed massively since this lockdown. I am simply in awe. I used to work in the projects as well a while back, and with the homeless people in the front line, but what our staff in the front line are experiencing now is unprecedented. I am daily in awe with the work they are doing. I'm busy working from home and just supporting them, but I don't even have a sense of their involvement and their dedication. It's beyond description, beyond imagination. So I would really like to thank them for the amazing work that they are doing.
Definitely, man. I think more than ever now, this is a very obviously, as you said, it's unprecedented. This isn't a situation really that anyone in the Western world has kind of like ever experienced. It's not necessarily something that anyone could have planned for in a way that would be completely relevant to what's actually happening now. Obviously, within sort of Brighton YMCA, you're primarily involved, obviously, in sort of more the housing side of things when it comes to community. Like, how have you found the scenario to be? Like, what have been the major sort of issues that have popped up?
Yes, it's interesting. Well, we are the largest housing association in Brighton, but we don't do just that. We are not just a roof. We provide a series of wraparound services to our very diverse community of homeless people. We house over 306 people, but we support much more than that in the local community. We support people to get back on their feet, to improve their skills. We were running work and learning services. Obviously, many of these have had to temporarily close, but we have tried to move as much as possible online because obviously our clients still need the support. But what is very difficult and very interesting and maybe not known enough in the community is that the people that we are continuing to support, and that's mainly the people who we are housing, are going through a situation that is beyond, our kind of daily life. We obviously all trying to cope with lockdown. I mean, me personally, I don't know how many more eggless cakes I can bake. But imagine that you are in a situation where you're self-isolating without the internet. You're self-isolating sometimes even without this amazing YouTube program that you are doing, without the radio. You are without a phone, without family or friends to lean on. Suddenly all the support groups, or most of the support groups and the help centers that you are going, you are relying to communicate, to get your, kind of socializing in, have shut down. Well, yeah, that's a very different situation to what most of us are experiencing.
Definitely.
And many of our clients are literally self-isolating in a room. In a project, yes, there is the sense of community because you are isolating together with other people. But even with that, you're not really in the same room as people a lot of the time. A lot of the time, I'm assuming you are. Well, I mean, it's an absolute madness to imagine that obviously in 2020, people are still in a scenario where they are essentially sitting in silence for the majority of the day. Yes, that's definitely so. And imagine that comes at a point where our clients would have already gone through intense trauma of isolation from their own life histories. They would have experienced all of this kind of, being away from their family, not being able to connect with them easily. And now they are forced into that situation yet again. And another thing that I was really surprised about, I was just taking phones and internet and this kind of online communication for granted. But a lot of our clients were relying on the computers that would have been in the communal lounges. And obviously we have shut those down now. We have closed the computer lounges because that's what social distancing means. So,
yeah, of course.
So we have a lot of clients in that kind of position. Saying that, as I was telling you before, our staff team have taken on this kind of online communication. So for the people who have got some way of communicating online, they're being supported like that. But there are lots of people who are not. So we have come up with this initiative. We've created a wish list on Amazon. And the purpose is to make sure that each of our clients, that's 306 clients, can maintain a level can be occupied and can have something to bring a little bit of light to their day. So we've put a wish list with art and craft packages, with activity packs that we are going to put together from this wish list, and we're going to deliver to, obviously observing social distancing, to each of these clients. So that's quite a big plan that we have.
I mean, I think just the layout of the plan in general, to be honest, I think it's an amazing idea, and I think a lot of the time with situations like this, I feel the thing that people may not be able to get their head around a lot of the time is that people are in such essentially the definition of like a real lockdown. And I think a lot of the time, like obviously someone like myself, I pretty much live in this room as it is. I've got my computer set up here. I've got a PlayStation 4 next to me. Like, it's not as if I'm not able to still communicate with people. You know what I mean? I think people getting their head around that situation of actually people aren't able to talk to anyone because the way they used to communicate with people is now like off limits, essentially. I think that's going to be the thing that does actually change people's opinions towards this and actually make people go, wow, this is a lot worse than anything I'm currently like kind of going through in regards to lockdown. Like my lockdown actually looks quite cushy in comparison to this. And I think the idea of doing a wish list as well, where it actually gives people stuff to essentially more than anything else, and it may not sound as like serious as it is, but it actually gives people something to do, considering how little there actually would be to do if you aren't in today's society. Obviously we are so reliant on the internet, which is just part of life now. We are so reliant on sort of electronic stuff. We're so reliant on all of these things that are based around essentially online communication. If you remove that level of online communication, so much of what I would call sort of like natural human needs essentially is kind of removed, and I think the idea of doing it via a wish list is really really good. Can you talk me through some of the things that we can find on this wish list?
Yes, you can find anything from origami, how to build an origami, simple origami techniques, to coloring books, to glue sticks and crayons and just simple things to get back to your creativity. Little quiz books. So yeah, that's one way to help us, to donate to us. But also I would appeal, because one thing that we have been overwhelmed with, just so impressed, is to how our community have already embraced this, how our community, Brighton community, have welcomed this initiative. So what we would encourage you to do is either to donate a few things on the wish list, or if that's not possible, to share our social media posts, or if you're an artist and you have some spare artistic kind of things that you could donate to definitely to get in touch with us. I've got an amazing example. One of our staff members actually is also part of this art collective, and she, together with her friends, have put together 20 packages with exactly the type of stuff that we have on the wish list. She actually put them together and deliver them to our head office, and with her support and other people's from the community support, we have managed to create 83 complete packages that we are going to. Yeah, so that's 83 out of 306. That's quite a large number.
I mean, that's an amazing start. I've got to say that is a truly amazing start, and I think that does kind of show to an extent the spirit of Brighton, I feel.
Yes, you're so right. We are immensely grateful, and if this lockdown is showing us anything, that's exactly what it is showing, that we can hold hands online. We can actually virtually offer each other an embrace. That's exactly what this is. I've got another really cool example. One of our supporters has donated his own books, and one of the books is called How to Write a Book in 90 Days. How amazing is that?
That's amazing.
So keep in touch with us, because who knows, we're going to have quite a few writers leave this lockdown when the lockdown is lifted.
I think an interesting thing of this, obviously it's very different if in different scenarios, but the thing obviously my sort of background obviously is more working in sort of music production and obviously sort of music journalism and all these sort of things along these lines. What I'm seeing is a lot of people starting up a lot of projects and start up things they've wanted to do for a while. I feel a lot of the time for lockdown, for a lot of people, I want to say this as well, for a lot of people I feel things haven't changed too much, apart from the fact they no longer have to leave their house to go to work. That's what I feel with a lot of people. Not much has actually changed that much, but what I feel that with this, obviously we're talking about people here who are kind of essentially locked in a room with not much to do, which to an extent doesn't seem that far from essentially being incarcerated to an extent for not really doing anything wrong.
Yes, yeah.
So when we kind of look at this and go, well, you can't, there's not really anything you can do. You can't pass the time. You can't really, you can't really learn a new skill because you don't have access to any of the tools that you need to learn a new skill. You are essentially stuck there with your own thoughts. And I think it's such a horrible predicament to be in, especially if we're talking about people who have already been through kind of recent trauma to kind of put them in that situation. I think this stuff like this is so essential in kind of getting people back on their feet, because this is, realistically, this scenario is the last thing that you'd want in that situation.
it's what we're trying to get away from with our homeless community. Yes, in a normal situation, we're doing anything to encourage socializing, to encourage recovery groups. A lot of people are reliant on recovery groups. So, these are groups where you meet together and you literally hold hands and support each other on getting out of this situation. Yes, you're right. It can be a really big step back for a lot of people, but why not encourage creativity? Especially that, we were aware of this prior to the lockdown. We actually ran a feature on our Instagram account a while back before all of this happened with poems from our artists. We do have quite a few artists in our homeless community. It's just that a lot of these people, unlike ourselves, unlike what you were just saying, you or me, do not have the potential to do it in an online kind of situation. But providing them with a nice writing kit and beautiful stationery could be that little bit of a push, to put those beautiful poems on paper and do something really creative and beautiful, and create some catharsis in that process as well. Just ensure that the time passes better than just looking at a clock in a wall.
Definitely, man. For me, me personally here, the idea of not having anything to do for the majority of every single day is maddening. Like, even the concept of that to me is maddening. So, I think looking at it, the work that you guys are doing is absolutely amazing, and I do want to send a massive shout out to everyone who is still working on the front line and across any kind of scenario here. But as we're talking about this, I do want to send it specifically to those kind of workers and people that are very much still helping people out in regards to people who are less fortunate, people who are in a scenario where they're having to find kind of housing in this sort of scenario. And I think, as you said earlier, I don't think enough praise can really be given to everyone who's involved.
Thank you so much for saying that, Jay. Yes, yeah. I want to join you in saying that. Thank you, definitely, yeah. And another big thank you, like you were saying earlier, to our incredible community. The amount of kind gestures. There's another one that has just come to me right now, another gesture that has been dedicated to Brighton YMCA. There is a beautiful organization in Brighton called the Social Society of Brighton. You can find them online if you search them in Google, and they have this beautiful initiative of writing letters, writing handwritten letters to people who are isolating and in a difficult situation. And they have offered to write in time 306 letters to go with these art and craft packs that we are sending out. We have just received 19 of those handwritten letters, and I have to say, it seems like a small gesture done if you just do it once, but it's so impactful to someone who doesn't get any kind of interaction. To receive a handwritten letter, it's just a really beautiful gesture to do. So yeah, we encourage the community, if you would like to write letters, then please do visit the social society in Brighton's account as well.
Amazing, man. I think hearing about all the work you guys do is definitely something that I'm never going to stop shouting about, because it's obviously it's something that is very kind of close to my heart. Obviously, YMCA played a big part in my kind of upbringing, so it's something that I do want to continuously shout about in regards to kind of making sure people are aware of what's going on. So what I've done is I've shared the wish list into this YouTube video, so anyone who comes across the YouTube video will find a link. What I'll also do is when we put the podcasts out, I'll make sure the link is in all of the podcasts, so people can go and head over there if possible. Kind of with everything else then, what else is kind of happening with Brighton YMCA at the moment then? Are there any other bits that are currently happening?
Yes, thank you so much, Jay. Thank you for sharing all of that. Yes, there is a brand new thing that actually the London Marathon, the amazing people around the marathon have launched, and it's called, people might have heard about it already, it's called the 2.6 Challenge. That's how you would find it on social media, hashtag 2.6 Challenge. And we are part of it as well. There is a Just Giving donation link on our website and on the London Marathon's website. And we would encourage the community to interpret this 2.6 Challenge in any way they want. So, Whereas before that would have been the amount of miles that you would run for a marathon. Now you could do 26 trampoline jumps and, fundraise by doing that. Or you could do, 26 steps to the kitchen and back all day, or push-ups, or why not just find 26 pieces of loose change and put them aside for us. Whichever way you would like to interpret that, we would really appreciate the extra help. And yes, we have a donations link on our website that can be found just in our donate page.
Amazing, man. Well, I think this has all been amazing to hear, and I want to say, as always, you guys are welcome on the show. Whenever anything needs to be announced or anything needs to be kind of like promoted, you know where my number is, and it's going to be open continuously.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you so much. You're absolutely amazing to support us.
No worries whatsoever. It's an absolute pleasure of mine. So kind of moving forward then, what is the best place for people to get in contact with Brighton YMCA in regards to kind of helping out and donating stuff, in regards to getting in contact with you guys directly?
We are everywhere on social media. Just search for Brighton YMCA. We are on Instagram, at Brighton YMCA. We tend to post there daily. But also you can just type Brighton YMCA in Google and you can find our website, and all the links are live there. And we try and update our community on there as well. So anywhere, whichever social medium you'd rather use, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and at www.brightonyMCA.co.uk.
Amazing. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you this morning. Thank you for jumping on the line. And of course, I wish everyone at YMCA the best moving forward as well. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk.
Thank you very much, Jay. Have a nice rest of the day.
You too. Right, we're going to jump into a tune next. This is a track we were running last week from a man like Kid D. We spoke to him on Friday. Do make sure you go and check out this EP, which is out now. This one is Bring It On. Don't go anywhere. It's Cubcam TV. Oh, yes.
Up to the most high, cause we got love and flavours. We billing them dangs, we ain't smoking no vapors. I think I'm feeling myself, I feel like one of the greatest. My music's a mazza, just watch how it fits in your playlist. I put beats and bars and strategize, yeah, man's aiming. Do not show me your dead sound, I ain't the one you should play with. It's 2020, I ain't got no time for you jokers. About ops with who? Go smoke a spliff, about smoke us. You're in tune to the livest jigger, I hope that you're hearing me properly. Divine intelligence guiding, different place, star chase when I'm flying. Stacking up rhythms, new sound multiplying. I'll be back soon, yeah, man's arriving. Dipping out quay from sirens, peaceful place, I'm vibrant. Yeah, tick-tock, the clocks ain't stopping. Don't waste no time, start plotting. Go get what you want, invest in bonds. Stacking money up to the ceiling. New sound that I got, it relates to the world, it's so damn appealing. Show them all what you got, take time when I block, but make sure you do it with meaning.
Bring it on, yeah, yeah, yeah. Time don't stop, don't be waiting on the clock. Bring it on, yeah, yeah. Live your life on the top, now the grind don't stop. Bring it on, yeah, yeah, yeah. Time don't stop, don't be waiting on the clock. Bring it on, yeah, yeah. Live your life on the top, now the grind don't stop.
I'm cool and calm and breezy with it. Negative vibes can't see me in it. Mad with the flow, man's easy with it. Built for the ting like I'm meant to win it. Motherfucker wanna know what I'm doing. When I step into the booth, it's non-stop slewing. I don't fuck with a man, you can't bring that crew in. My chakras align from the time that I flew in. Them man I spit non-stop nonsense. 10 toes, 10 what, get a job then. Flip P's, get G's, go above them. Family comes first, you gotta love them. We all do it for our sons and our daughters. Gotta think twice before crossing them borders. Serious choices, you know what we taught us. You gotta just listen to the chorus.
Bring it on, yeah, yeah, yeah. Time don't stop, don't be waiting on the clock. Bring it on, yeah, yeah. Live your life on the top, now the grind don't stop. Bring it on, yeah, yeah, yeah. Time don't stop, don't be waiting on the clock. Bring it on, yeah, yeah. Live your life on the top, now the grind don't stop.
Sounds of Kid D on that one. Bring it on. You can check out the interview we did with him on Fresh Fridays here on the channel, or you can head over to SoundCloud or Apple Music or Spotify and check out the podcast we did there. As you can with this one, just search Breakfast with KXVU on any of the different platforms and you'll be able to find the show. It's all linked there in a nice big playlist. And you can listen back to every single interview we've ever done over the course of the last 6 months, of course. So there we go. Loads of stuff there. I want to say a massive thank you to both of this morning's guests. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to both of them. Do make sure you check out the Brighton YMCA Amazon wish list, which you can actually see linked to this video. I'm also going to put the link in the SoundCloud and also put the link in the Spotify as well, so you can actually check that out when it goes live, and you'll be able to see it basically pop up everywhere, and you'll be able to actually directly link into it, because it's definitely something I would recommend doing. If you've got a spare £6 or £7 floating around, literally just donate, and it will make someone's life essentially a lot more bearable in this current situation. Obviously, we like to have fun on this show. We like to make sure we are keeping people entertained in the mornings, but I do like to want to make sure we are touching on serious issues when they need to be touched upon, because otherwise I feel we're being a bit irresponsible, you know what I mean? But primarily, obviously, this show is about people having a lot of fun. So what we're going to do next is, looking forward, we're going to finish up with the brand new single from Sabrina Gunston. I'm liking the fact we're sort of developing a bit of a playlist here on Brekky. Obviously, I try to find new music every single week. I try to find new music to put on the show every single day, actually, to be honest with you. I spend about 20-25 minutes after each show going through all my playlists, all of my inboxes and everything, every single different platform that I listen to music on. I go through and try to find as much new music as possible. But I tend to find on Mondays, we tend to play similar music to Fridays, because it drops on the Fridays and then we can listen to it over the weekend. And by the time Monday comes around, all I want to do is listen to the same tunes. So there we go. We're going to finish up on this one from Sabrina Gunston, and I want to say a massive shout out to everyone who has been locked in this morning. A good show for a Monday morning, I feel. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. All the new viewers, we're going to be putting out loads of new stuff via the channel. This is obviously my sort of go-to project at the moment, as we are in the period of lockdown. There's new gaming videos dropping all week. There's new bits of content dropping this week as well. We've got a new Juno podcast dropping next week. There's loads of stuff on the way. If you're interested in electronic music, this is the place to be. So that's how we're going to leave it. We're going to finish up with this one. Join us tomorrow from the same hours. That is 10 till 11:30. I'm going to be joined on the phone by the wonderful Earth Nut. Can't wait to have a conversation with them. Somehow, despite the fact we've been involved in the same show, I think it's 4 times now, this is actually going to be the first time we've ever actually had an actual phone interview. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be an amazing conversation, and we're going to find out loads about what they are up to. So there we go. Out to all the locked in crew, I'm going to leave you with this one from Sabrina Gunston, but she goes by the name of Sabrina now. This one is Losing Sleep, her brand new single. Make sure you're going and checking this one out, and I'll see you all in the morning. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye.
Have you got time for my love? 'Cause I got time for yours. Have you got time for my love? Have you got a place for my soul? 'Cause I got a place for yours. Have you got a place for my soul? I'm losing sleep over your love, over your touch. I'm losing sleep over your love, over your touch. Have you got time to be mine? 'Cause I got time to be yours. Have you got time to be mine? Have you got space for my thoughts? 'Cause I got space for yours. Have you got space for my thoughts? I'm losing sleep over your love, over your touch. I'm losing sleep over your love, over your touch. And I keep searching for something, searching for something more. I'm losing sleep. I say something you can't repeat. What happened to this love so sweet? I'm crying over my lost sleep. Oh, yes, I'm losing sleep.